Class of 2023 guests and colleagues, my name is Sharon Oakley, and on behalf of the University of York and the alumni community, I am delighted to welcome you to your conferment and celebration ceremony. I have a few announcements to make. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Class of 2023, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket, because you will be called to the stage in that order. If you discover that these do not match, our team of stewards can help you locate the correct seat. At the appropriate time, you will be invited by the stewards to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage, all very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless ceremony. First, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure that you make your way to the top of the stairs. Please don't wait until they have crossed the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. And second, when your name is announced, please walk to the center of the stage and either raise or doff your cap rather than shake hands with the Deputy Vice Chancellor. Please do pause for a moment at the spot marked X in the center of the stage for that all-important photo opportunity. Your parchment certificates will be available for collection from the Student Hub from Monday the 24th until Monday the 31st of July. If your certificate is uncollected, we will post it to the home address we have on record. So please ensure that your home address information on eVision is up to date. And your digital certificate will be made available to you through our digital portal, Grad Intelligence, after the ceremony has taken place. For the students whose awards have been delayed by the marking and assessment boycott, we will let you know how to obtain your certificate when we communicate your final outcome. Everyone from the class of 2023 is welcome to have photographs taken by our official photographers in the photography studio in the Spring Lane building. At the end of the ceremony, the class of 2023 are asked to process out of the hall, directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the class of 2023 have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and we will escort you to the nearest exit. When students graduate, they become alumni of the University of York. As an alum, you will join an international community of over 160,000 York alumni in over 180 countries. The university's Alumni Association is a vibrant and active global network which offers services and opportunities that are designed to help graduates make connections with other alumni around the world to support your career development and provide lifelong learning. York is for life, and we will be there with you every step of the way, particularly as you embark on this important next chapter. You will shortly receive an email giving further details of the ways in which you can remain supported, connected, and active in this community of one of the world's greatest universities. Do please follow our alumni social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and check out the alumni pages on the university website to keep in touch and learn more about your life as a York graduate. As you get your first job or take up further study or training, please remember to keep us in touch with what you are doing. Understanding the career paths that you will take help us to provide the right support for current students and make sure we continue to offer you relevant information and opportunities. And please remember to join us for your celebratory reception following the ceremony in the Exhibition Centre, where you will be able to celebrate your achievement with a complimentary glass of fizz and a selection of refreshments. Finally, Can I now please ask that you mute your mobile phones, and if you are comfortably able, would you now all please stand?
Good afternoon. On this somewhat damp day, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to our university. I now declare the congregation open for the conferment and celebration of awards. Please be seated. So, good afternoon again. It's my extraordinary privilege and indeed pleasure to congratulate every single one of you here today as you transition from York to the next exciting chapters in your lives. But before we begin, I feel it's only right and proper to also acknowledge that some of you have faced a series of disruptions over the course of your study. And that includes disruption over the past few weeks. I know that some of you may be feeling frustrated about this, and I'm sorry for that. I also hope that those affected will be able to stand back and perhaps reflect on their achievements and their wider time at York. A York education is evidence of hard work, determination, and a commitment to exploring and expanding the frontiers of knowledge. But to have succeeded, as all of you have done, when one considers the truly immense challenges that you and we all have encountered and overcome over the past few years, is testament to a level of resilience and drive that will mark you out in ways that we can't even imagine at this point. And I'd like to expand on the theme of exploring and enhancing the frontiers of knowledge. I still remain a fan of the late Canadian singer, songwriter and poet Leonard Cohen. It's an age thing. I've been reflecting on a particular phrase of his from the song Anthem. It explores the idea of hope in darkness, written at a previous time of global turbulence. Leonard says, "There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." It would be easy to only see the darkness that seems so prevalent in society today, and to feel a sense of despair and futility. But I believe that we can and we must respond positively to threats and challenges, and there are many. We're in the midst of a global cost of living crisis born out of the aftermath of the impacts of the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. But even more so by the fact that we now have the largest gap in modern times between the very richest in society and the poorest. Here in the UK, food banks are now the second largest holder of food stocks, second only to Tesco's. And we're advised that soon the food banks will overtake Tesco's. This should give us serious pause for thought. How can it be acceptable that an economy the size and strength of the UK can, according to the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, have nearly 7 million people living in such deep poverty that they're struggling to feed their children or afford the cost of travel to work? And we know that you, our students, have also been badly impacted by the cost of living crisis. Here we've been working with our civic and city partners and student leaders to try and create agile and compassionate responses to the cost of living crisis. Crises like COVID and the cost of living have taught us that our busy, frenetic lives, fueled by social media, can change in a heartbeat in ways that are often far beyond our ability to control. The cracks exposed by these crises have shown us that those whose jobs are the hardest, often the least well paid, are also the people who are most likely to be badly impacted. Fundamentally, we've not tackled the deep-rooted inequalities that exist in our society today. But these crises have also taught us how important human relationships are. COVID taught us that the simple act of meeting, talking, laughing, hugging, caring should never again be taken for granted. The current crisis will only be solved by continually breaking through new frontiers of knowledge. That aim is at the very heart of our education system, that our research, our teaching, and our collective collaborative endeavour must be shaped around the goal of making the world a better place, to solve such deep-rooted and embedded inequalities in society. But the cost of living crisis is by no means the only darkness we're experiencing right now. We're living in a time of increasing division, distrust, and destabilisation. The invasion of Ukraine is but one example of global insecurity that is hugely disturbing. I've been part of the UK's national effort to support our colleagues in Ukraine's universities. We're proud that York has been twinned with Karazin Kharkiv National University, located just 25 miles from the Russian border. KKNU is a university that has experienced profound losses. Students and staff are dispersed. Every building on their campus has been damaged by daily shelling. It is beyond humbling to join a call with Ukrainian university rectors when they talk of their determination to stay, to rebuild, to recover, and to continue to deliver the best possible education for their students. I'm enormously proud that we now have a wide range of collaborations in place to support KKNU to redress the horrific impact of the war with Russia. But it shouldn't have to be like this. So my message today is one of hope, because you are our hope. So ring the bell. You have been educated in a great university, a university that I hope has left you with a deep sense of personal and collective responsibility, an understanding that respect for education and expanding our frontiers of knowledge are the hallmarks of a civilized society. I hope that you will use your education to always question the status quo, that you will challenge inequality and inequity wherever you see it. We want you to use your knowledge, your compassion, and your creativity to make the world a better place. Life is far from perfect. As Leonard Cohen said, there are cracks in everything, but imperfection is what makes us strive to make things better. It's what makes us challenge ourselves to find solutions to global problems. It's what gives us hope so that we too can let the light in. Humanity has faced many periods of darkness over the course of history. And yet we endure, we hope, we change, we innovate, and above all, we inspire. As President Zelensky said about young people in Ukraine, you are not our future, you are our today. Today marks the start of your future. It's yours, grab it with both hands, but never forget your time at York. Thank you very much.
Professor Michelle Alexandra will now present the class of 2023 on behalf of the Department of Archaeology.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Provost, I have the honour to present the following candidates who have pursued the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Archaeology. For research in reconstructing lifeways with Planck microparticles, Sarah Ann Delaney. For research in flatfish and the origin of European marine fishing, Katrin Diericks. For research in degradation of ancient proteins in hide materials, Carla Soto Quintana. For pursuing the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Conservation Studies. For research in back-to-back houses and their communities in Leeds, Joanne Harrison. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Conservation of Historic Buildings, Samuel Cumbers. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Cultural Heritage Management, Jason Archuleta. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Field Archaeology, Elizabeth Underhill. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Historical Archaeology, Mirabel Maud. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Iron Age and Celtic Archaeology, Emily Haynes. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Medieval Archaeology, Emma Harty. Rufus McNiven. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Roman Archaeology, William Gibbons. For pursuing the degree of Master of Science in Digital Archaeology, Daniel Hall. Lindsay Meeklim. Prachi Mangeshpal. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Archaeology, Charlie Acton. Jake Ansbro. Natasha Awan. Tina Banu. Thomas Baslington. James Bell. Millie Batt. Robert Blake. Michael Booth. Francis Brent. Alistair Brown. Sophie Burton. Ellie Chesterton. Alicia Chaika. Alexander Donaghy. Leah Ellis. Deb Embleton. Eleanor Evans. Thomas Freeman. Christopher Hoyle. Alfred Lyons. Holly MacDonald. Connor Meitner. Thomas Nichols. Julia Priest. Cameroon Sahuta. Victoria Salter. Miriam Samuel. Caitlin Scott. Jamie Siddle. Max Smith-Morris. Hannah Turner. Ruby Williams. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Archaeology and Heritage, Victoria Cornford. Abigail Evans. Freya Kircher. Georgia Lowe. Thomas Olivier. Jack Strong. Taylor Samurai. Antonia Thompson-White. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Historical Archaeology, Neve Arthur. Amelia Chambers. Isabel Clayton. Ned Elliott. Lauren Evans. Philip Hindley. Matilda Johnson. Fedor Kianenko. Lily May Iris Gibson. Dan Roberts. Daniel Roberts. Beth Todd. Thomas Williams. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Science in Archaeology, Dalal Al-Amri. Jessica Charlton. Alexandra Deegan. Rosalind Fish. Elizabeth Hainsworth. Sian Hall. Matthew Harris. Andrew Hill. Alexander Jones. Lara McCurry. Catherine Monaghan. Millie Stanley Davey. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Science in Bioarchaeology, Annie Bones. Benjamin Curry. Phoebe Goodwin. Oscar Kelly. Jacob Lawton. Tobias McCluskey. Carly McQuaid. Maria Castaño Muñoz Arriagada. Alexander Wilkinson.
Professor Laura Stewart will now present the class of 2023 on behalf of the Department of History.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Provost, I have the honour to present the following candidates who have pursued the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in History. For research on woman in London's Court of Orphans, 1660 to 1720, Jessica Ayres. For research in sociability and belonging in late medieval England, Kirsten Barnard. For research in quotidian punishment in Mau Mau, Kenya, 1952 to 1956, Thomas Wright. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Contemporary History and International Politics, Rosanna Bell. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Medieval History, Amy Hendry. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Renaissance and Early Modern Studies, Karen Enon. Emma Scott. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and French, Jacob Gibbons. Jared White. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History, Rebecca Abbey. Manila Abdurrahmanova. Nicholas Allen. Coco Amor. James Anderson. Amelia Arnaud. Jen. Okay. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History, Benjamin Asquith. Holly Atkins. Sydney Bartlett. Thomas Beer. Edward Bird. Gunnar Bronson. Demi Boyer. Maria Magdalena Bradova. Maya Branfoot. Isabel Brattle. Amy Britton. Charles Britton. Jocasta Boole. James Burden. Abby Byrne. Rebecca Kane Renshaw. Julia Cheney. Holly Chapman. Mia Clark. Freya Clark. Oliver Clements. Jude Cobb. Isabel Connolly. Georgie Cook. Isabel Cooper. Thomas Corlett. George Cowgill. Thomas Cox. Rachel Creer. Anna Curran. Tanya Darling. Taylor Dawson. Poppy DeShorzy. Amelia Doherty. Joseph Donnelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, student musical ensemble E Anonyme will now perform What a Wonderful World, arranged by Peter Hicks.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue all and I think to myself,
For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History, Matthew Fairhurst. Arthur Farr. Amy Fleetwood. Charlotte Gledhill. Naomi Gorringe. Izzy Green. Lauren Green. Lucy Haddock-Williams. Rebecca Harper. Tyler Hatton. Megan Hayton. Katja Kerring. Charles Hetherington. Joshua Hill. Jennifer Hollywood. Nicholas Hobson. Jed Howarth. Alexandra Hyde. Hannah Ingram. Melissa Inston. Stephanie Jacob. Tilly Jobbins. Amber Johnson. Lucy Johns. Mia Jones. Kira Joyce. Jack Kedney. Jessica Keeping. Dominic King. Silas King. Cora Lancashire. Phoebe Lane. Charlotte Lloyd. Matthew Locke. Fatima Malada. Zoe Mann. Gabriel Marchant Palmer. Katie Marsh. Abby McCormick. Georgia McCutcheon. Adassa McDonald-Dixon. Freya McGillivray. Vivian McGough. Maximilian Melbourne. Helena Mellows. Laura Mills. Kate Moore Myers. Freya Morgan. Tiernan Murphy. Enrico Occhini. Hannah Owen. Panos Papanikolaou. Eve Peacock. Martha Pollard. Robin Porter. Jacob Pratt. Alicia Preston. Emily Raffin. Mohammed Rashid. Kate Richardson. Canada Ridge Harrison. Jessica Robinson. Luke Robinson. William Robinson. Mariana Rodiles. Eliza Root. Olivia Rochel. Jasmine Ryder. George Salisbury. Daisy Sando.
Dr. Richard McClary from the Department of History of Art will now present our honorary graduate, William Dalrymple.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Provost, it is both a privilege and a pleasure to present to you our honorary graduate, William Dalrymple. Author, scholar, and co-founder of the hugely successful Jaipur Literary Festival, William has been recognized for his outstanding contributions to writing and television on a huge range of topics, with numerous awards over the years. He has received the Duff Cooper Memorial Prize, the Grierson Award, and the extremely prestigious President's Medal from the British Academy, to name just three. He has curated exhibitions and has the, I believe, unequaled record of receiving a literary prize for every single one of his 10 books. His works look to the past, both his own family's and this Union of Nations' involvement with Central and South Asia, in order to understand the present and to create a better and more informed future. This commitment aligns with the University of York's goal to be a force for good through a combination of research excellence and innovative teaching. William's life and work are imbued with these two strands in his erudite scholarship that is accessible to all. Born in 1965, William went to school in Yorkshire at Ampleforth before going to Trinity College, Cambridge to read history. He has been based in Delhi for over 30 years, where he and his wife Olivia have raised their children with extended periods of time in Scotland, and he has also travelled extensively. He has done more than anyone to shine a light on the rich, complex, and multifaceted nature of British involvement in the Indian subcontinent and Afghanistan over the last 2 centuries. His books are particularly important as they draw on not just the British sources and perspectives, but also the Mughal, Afghan, and Sikh sources, and in doing so, create a far more comprehensive view of a past that so heavily informs the present. It's hard to single out any one of William's works, but I think that given the ongoing crisis in Afghanistan and the recent British involvement in the war there, the 3rd volume of his company quartet, Return of the King, published in 2014, is perhaps the one that is best to mention here. Awarded multiple prizes, it presents the history of the First British-Afghan War from the perspective of both the invader and the invaded, through the use of numerous previously unpublished sources from as far afield as Kabul, Lahore, London, and Moscow. The book is the preeminent history of this first phase of what was to become a tragically long Western military involvement in Afghanistan, and will no doubt remain so for several generations. As the University of York continues to develop and expand the capacity to teach and research the history and material culture of Central Asia, Iran, and the Indian subcontinent, it is really exciting to highlight the links between what we do here and what William has dedicated his career towards. He is the co-founder and co-director of the Jaipur Literature Festival, which is an egalitarian, free, and now international series of events that has run since 2006 and chimes directly with the University of York's ethos of acting for the public good. William has an increasingly close relationship with the University of York, and last year he generously agreed to give the inaugural Bruce Hornell Memorial Lecture, held here in York annually in honour of a dear and mutual friend who sadly passed away in 2020. Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Provost, for his years of scholarship and work to interpret the past and build a better understanding for the future relationship between Britain and India, it is with great pleasure that I present to you William Dalrymple from the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
The power vested in me by the University of York, it's with great pleasure that I confer upon you the award of Doctor of the University honoris causa. Many, many congratulations.
I spent the first 10 years of my education in Yorkshire, and it was bicycling around the North York Moors, looking at monuments such as Revo and Byland, and bringing professors from York University, such as Philip Ratz and Martin Carver, that started my interest in archaeology and history. And I've just loved hearing all the different PhDs that you've all been so brilliantly working on, and seeing how particularly archaeology seems to be developing in extraordinary new directions. It's incredibly inspiring. I ended up coming back to York a lot over the last 20 years, working on these 4 books on the East India Company. And the key to understanding that lay in the city with Richard and I's mutual friend, Bruce Winnell, who's one of those people who had the gift of an extraordinary ear. This meant that he could not only play Schubert and sing, play Chopin and sing Schubert, as well as Persian ghazals and Winterreise and every imaginable form of opera, or Monteverdi he could sing. He also had the gift of languages. He seemed to know every European language, but also had good Arabic and completely perfect Persian. And he had enough of modern Indian languages that he was able to understand the different forms of Mughal Persian, which often contained a lot of Urdu or Pushtun or Punjabi, and would be able to read Mughal Persian text, which is really a lost language now. No one speaks this anymore. And Bruce could read it as easily as you or I could scan the front page of The Guardian. And he had this ability to work through pages and pages of Persian text, with not always with great speed, but with great accuracy, and would produce the wonderful translations in incredible prose. The story we were working on is one of the darkest in history. It's how one corporation, headquartered in one office in a London street, an office only 5 windows wide, considerably smaller than this hall, was able to use credit and buy mercenary troops that allowed it to conquer what was then the richest country in the world. The Mughal Empire generated about 40% of the world's GDP at a time when all of England produced between about 5 and 7% of the world's GDP. And it was this bizarre organ which resulted in the wealth of India draining, often in very nefarious ways, into this country, enriching us as efficiently as it paupered India. And it is the story of a corporation. It's the story of a business enterprise. I was always taught at school that India was conquered by the British, or the British Empire. It wasn't so. It was a corporation that was run for profit, had a share price, had annual general meetings like any corporation. And it is the greatest story of corporate violence in world history. Over the 20 years that Bruce and I worked on this, and Bruce translating volume after volume of these Mughal records that had never been read before from the late Mughal period, 2 things happened. In the world, we saw the birth, again, of massive multinational corporations, which were richer than whole continents. Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, ExxonMobil. These were companies that barely existed when we began work in the late 1990s. But which over the course of those 20 years came to command sums of money that whole continents were not able to put together. At the same time, there was a growing awareness in this country of the damage that colonialism has done around the world, and the way in which this country has been responsible for eviscerating and asset stripping great swathes of the world. So in memory of Bruce, I would be delighted and very honoured to accept this honorary degree. Thank you very, very much. And I'll just end with a quote from the Lord Chancellor as he put Warren Hastings on trial in Westminster Hall in the impeachment of Warren Hastings, the one occasion when Parliament held the East India Company to account, though in many ways they chose the wrong person to take down. And the words, I think, ring just as strong, if not more so, today than they did in the 1780s. He said, "Corporations have neither bodies to be punished, nor souls to be condemned. They therefore do as they like." Thank you very much.
For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History, Hannah Scrivens. Henry Sikorsky. Sophie Simpson. Abigail Smith. Charlotte Smith. Verity Smith. Maximilian Snell. Daniel Stafford. Isabel Steeds. Harry Stones. Megan Stewart. James Teavee. Wilfred Tomlinson. Fyodor Topolov-Soldonov. Alexander Trevis. Nathan Turnick. Jana Videka. Rebecca Ward. Laura Warlow. Alice Watson. William Webster. Xander West. Dion Wilkinson. Catherine Wilkinson. Brad Williams. Hannah Woodford. Joseph Woods. Olivia Yates. Benjamin Cotton. Edith Fisher. Eleanor Higginbottom. Iona Quinman. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History with a placement year, Vanusha Haran. Tyler Pell. Rebecca Yates. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and Economics, Anna Cornish. Gracie Hinks. Natalie Mayo. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and French with a year abroad, Rika Canaway. Lucy Hale. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and History of Art, Amelia Dewhurst. Maria Garton Grimwood. Bibi Jafar. Alexandra Kitch. Victoria Novakovic. Emily Oliver. Petja Petkova. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and Philosophy, Camilla Austin. Ethan Brooks Skeet. Isabel Scanlon. Kiana Shorden-Dick Holverson. Sebastian Sinclair. Imogen Webster. Scarlett Angove. Zara Berry. Megan Bior. Jolie Bonner. Owen Buchan. George Birch. Luca Campana. Amy Crossley. Gracie Daw. Malvina Ferzaj. Kimberly Fletcher. Rebecca Garish. Emma Gilbert. Freya Goodchild. Casper Graf von der Schulenberg. Emma Graham. Toby Heath. William Jackson. Margaret Lally. Samuel Lewis. Anna Lithgow. Sophie Massey. King Hae Mok. Hannah Parsons. Lucien Popescu. Laura Powell. Emily Renton. Anit Samara. Sophia Shackler. Laiba Yasmin Sheikh. Alexander Walden. Rachel Ward. Genevieve Winter. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and Politics with a year abroad, Emily Bridson. Clement Wallace. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History with a year abroad, William Bentley. Hamish Cassidy. Corin Chalice. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and Economics with a placement year, James Dixon. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History with a year abroad, Niall McGinty.
It is my enormous pleasure to introduce Maria Magdalena Bradova, our student orator who will speak on behalf of the class of 2023. Our student orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have both pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2023, I give you Maria Magdalena Bradova.
Dear guests, faculty members, family, and friends, thank you for coming together for such a joyous occasion. It is truly joyous, for in the last 3 years, we have known many joys. The joy of meeting wonderful people, the joy of calling this beautiful city our home, the joy of making through the first year, then the second, and now the last. Even the little joys like finding an empty seat in the library or the perfect source for an essay, all the joys, big and small, led us here today. However, it comes as no surprise when I say that the last 3 years have been turbulent. This was not how I had imagined my time at university. I had not envisaged joining during a pandemic or war breaking out as close to my home country as York is to London, seeing a monarch being buried and another one crowned. I was unprepared to arrive and be quarantined, to attend lectures from my dorm room, to meet you all on Zoom. None of us were prepared for these things. It therefore strikes me that to be here today is truly remarkable. To arrive here required of each of us grit, patience, and a tremendous force of will. Collectively, it required of all of us, students and faculty, compassion, decency, and kindness. I wish to offer my heartfelt thanks to the faculty and staff who have been so generous with their time and expertise, to our loved ones for supporting us on this journey, and to my peers for fighting hard to make it here today. It's been an honor to fight alongside you. I think I speak for all of us when I say that it's an incredible privilege to have spent 3 years in this place committed to the study of the past which has once again become ever so important in today's world. In the last 3 years, we have lived and learned in a time of great change, in a time where lines get redrawn and the world is faced with challenges long forgotten. The events of the last 3 years will be the subject of history books. Remember them well. We might be the ones who write them. On that note, it has been said that history is static, that it is a dusty and eccentric pursuit. Some even hailed the end of history. No one is saying that now. This class has been at the eye of the storm. We have watched the thunder roll. We know that the world can change in an instant, and that nothing is certain, and that nothing less than perseverance and great care will be enough to confront what may come. History is alive and kicking, and it is ours. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. That was fabulous. I wonder if I can ask family, friends, and guests to stand only. So now is our last opportunity to congratulate the class of 23, to wish them well on their journey. As we've heard, it's been an interesting couple of years. You know, one hopes for something perhaps more quiet in the future. But we wish you well in whatever you go on to do now. So please, congratulations. perhaps one last thing to do. All of you who've crossed the platform this afternoon, I wonder if you could stand. Because you've not got here on your own. You've had the support of friends, family, guests, physical, spiritual, probably financial as well. And now is an opportunity to thank those who've helped you on the journey, including our great staff, academic staff, technical support, the people who look after the estate. So now's your opportunity to say thank you again. Please remain standing. I now declare the congregation closed. Thank you very much.